Hi, Sir Halim. My name is Shi Rong, normal matrix 70722. My study is the relationship of GHRM practice through organizational commitment in agri-sector in Cebu. For the introduction, the background of the study, many funds has incorporated HRM practice that are aimed at promoting environment sustainability. GHRM practice create various advantages for enterprise, such as improving the productivity, talent retention, reduce the cost, and create competitive advantage and employees' happiness. The government of Pakistan has taken initiative to further develop the agri-food sector with almost focus in the daily. The purpose of GHM practice is to reduce the pollution to the environment. The practice of GHM can improve the organization commitment to the organization, which is due to the social responsibility formed by the employee under the long-term social influence. For the problem statement, some scholars have explored the implementation of GHRM to test its effectiveness in improving enterprise performance. For the problem statement, some scholars have explored the implementation of GHRM to test its effectiveness in improve organization commitment in different places. According to Jabor, there is currently a lack of a more comprehensive model to examine the effect of GHRM and organization commitment. There are studies to explore an association among green HRM and organization commitment in the existing literature. For the research objective, the general objective is the relationship between GHRM practice and organization commitment in the agri-food sector in Cebu. The research objective 1 is to investigate the relationship between the GHRM practice and effective commitment. The research objective 2 is to investigate the relationship between the GRM practice and continuous commitment. The third is to investigate the relationship between the GHRM practice and normative commitment. The fourth objective is to investigate the most dominant selected GHRM practice that affecting organization commitment. For the scope of study, the focus and scope that research do is to identify the relationship of GRM practice to organization commitment in agri-food sector in Cebu. The GRM practice have a central impact on organization commitment. The study intends to measure the relationship GRM practice to organization commitment to the development of food industry through air more theory. The research must be done to ensure that the research can prove other with more information but the GRM practice toward organization commitment in agri-food sector in Cebu. The significance of study. The purpose of this research project is to provide more reference for the future research. Green human resource management practice actually started in the 19th century, but have only been implemented in our country in the last few years. The reform of green HRM can add a value to the company product. Chapter 2 is literature review. Green human resource management. According to CAPIT, GHRM encompasses all HRM processes put in the place. Guarantee and organizational environment friendliness is balanced. Organizational commitment is described as the process by which business management the environment by adopting environment management strategy. GHRM and organization commitment. The process start with green human resource management, create the employees commitment, start from almost every employee's organization touchpoint and interface. The organization generates from the perceived green practice for the organization operation and offering. Organization commitment. The three elements of organization commitment are effective commitment, continuous commitment, and normative commitment. Effective commitment is described an employee's identification and participation in the organization. Continuous commitment stems from an employee's assessment of the respective costs and benefit of staying or leaving the organization. This form of commitment should increase over time. Normative commitment is mainly employees' recognition of the social responsibility of the organization. The theory of using the MO theory. MO theory interacted HR practice according to ability, motivate, and opportunity. GHRM including green recruitment and selection, green training and development with the target true impact of GHRM and employees' performance, ensuring the skill and knowledge for successful implementation and achieving of specific tasks. For the chapter 3 is methodology. The research design is quantitative research. By using the Linker skill, we use the questionnaire. The population and sample size is 370 respondents will be included in the study, who are randomly selected employees from agri-food sector in Cebu. The questionnaire were used to collect the data. The research instrument, survey using questionnaire, open-end questionnaire. 4 sections in the questionnaire and 5 Linker scale. The data collection procedure is obtain permission letter from the faculty, make appointment with the company, distribute the questionnaire, and collect the data and analyze. For the data collection method and analysis, in this research, a set of questionnaires were used in collecting the data. Schema correlation is used to test the hypothesis, which is to identify whether there is a relationship between the independent variable and dependent variable or not, while multiple regression is used to identify the most dominant selected green human resource management practice that are affecting organization commitment. There is research can collect and analyze the data using SPSS after the employees is filled in the Google form. The reliability and validity. The pilot study, all of the carbon alpha is more than 0.7. For the actual study, also all of them are more than 0.7, except the performance best pair 0.61 carbon alpha, but is still accepted. The result of the validity and reliability test of pilot study and actual study, which dominate. For chapter 4, result and finding and discussion. For the demographic respondent, for the gender, the 59 and 2% are male and 40.8% are female. And then the age is 41.1% respondent, which is age 21 to 30 years old, and 21.6% of the respondent is 31 to 40 years old. 22.2% of the employees is 41 to 50 years old, and the last, only 5.1% of the employees is age 51 years old and above. The rest, there are 35.9% of the respondent is Ibang, and the 33.5% of them are Chinese, and 16.8% of them are Malay, and 10.5% of the respondents are Bidayu, and only 3.2% of the respondents are Indian. For the length of service, there are 37.8% of the respondents are working in the organization 1 to 3 years, next followed by 88 respondents, which is 23.8% is working less than 1 year, and only 21.6% of the respondents working 4 to 6 years in the organization, and 16.2% of respondents are working 7 to 9 years in the organization. Last, only 10.5% of the employees working 10 years and above. The academic level for the respondent, 29.5% of the respondents complete their SPM, and 29.5% of them have the bachelor degree, and 28.1% of them have complete their diploma or STPM, and last, only 3% of them have degree master. The main finding of this study is the green performance best pair. The high score item is my salary do not match with my workload. Mean 4.31, standard deviation 0.84. Green recruitment, the high score item is my organization recruitment process include environment commitment requirement. Mean 4.42 and the standard deviation with 0.66. The green training, the high score item is my organization carry out green training. The mean is 4.41, standard deviation with 0.6x. The green information sharing, the high score item is I believe all the information is enabled to an information sharing system. The mean is 4.4, standard deviation with 0.64. And the last green reward, the high score item is I believe employees who are rewarded show high organization commitment. The mean is 4.42 and the standard deviation is 0.64. Effective commitment, the high score item is my personal value aligns with the organization mission. Mean 4.64 and standard deviation 0.6. For the normative commitment is the high score item is I feel a moral obligation to stay here. Mean 4.47 and the standard deviation 0.65. Continuous commitment, the high score item is I decide that leaving mean I need to start accumulate benefit in a new organization. Mean 4.4 and the standard deviation 0.6. The correlation analysis. The hypothesis 1 is there a significant relationship between GRM practice and effective commitment. The finding is supported by the Safety Nimala and the human resource management practice on effective commitment. The results have indicated that GRM has the strong correlation with effective commitment. The result of the correlation analysis is R equal to 0.584, shows strong significant positive relationship between the GRM and effective commitment. Meanwhile, the p-value is 0, which is less than 0.5, means that the hypothesis test is failed to reject. The hypothesis 2 is there is significant relationship between GRM practice and normative commitment. The finding that supported by the Mary about the GRM practice on normative commitment, we've showed that GRM have the correlation with normative commitment. The result is R equal to 0.554. The values show that there is strongly positive relationship between GRM and organization commitment. Meaning the p-value is less than 0.05, the hypothesis is failed to reject. The hypothesis 3 is there a significant relationship between the GRM and cognitive commitment. The finding is supported by the Ross and Frank about the HRM practice on continuous commitment in the banking industry. Their results have indicated that GRM has the strong correlation with continuous commitment. The result of R equal to 0.558 values show that there is strongly positive relationship between the GRM and the continuous commitment. The p-value is less than 0.05. It means the hypothesis 3 is failed to reject. The hypothesis 4 is there is a most dominant selected GRM practice that affecting organization commitment. According to the finding, information sharing systems have a positive and significant link with the organization commitment amongst the employees. Based on Deeding have proposed that the strong correlation exists between the variable information sharing system and organization commitment. The results show the most significant dominant to organization commitment is information sharing system with the beta 0.696 with the p-value 0.00 less than 0.05, which show that the hypothesis testing for the hypothesis 4 is failed to reject. The conclusion implementation of research finding. First, the implementation of the organization are that I feel effectively assist the organization increase organization commitment. It is due to the fact that the conclusion of the study will give the direction to the organization regarding the importance of GRM practice that should be focused on the design their GRM practice policy. According to this study, the information sharing system had a great impact on organization commitment. The organization should reconsider how to complete the information sharing system in order to increase the employees' organization commitment. For the recommendation for the future researcher, the current study only revealed the relationship between the green performance best pay, green recruitment, green training, green information sharing, green reward on organization commitment. Which is the future researcher should consider include additional factors that have the potential to affect the organization commitment. Last, the recommendation to the future researcher is conduct the research in the public sector because the current research is conducted in the private sector. This is all for my presentation of FYP project. Thank you.